Hey, what's up, y'all? Time for another session of Let's Keep It Real. And, just too much stuff going on out here, man. I got to keep y'all updated on the false information that's being passed around on the internet, right? So there seems to be like this movement against cardio in general. And it seems to be getting more momentum, man. Like, people keep posting videos on social media about this is their body. They're posting before and after pictures, their body on cardio and then their body on weightlifting. And then they keep trying to convince people that you don't need to do any cardio. Well, not only is that hogwash for health reasons, but, and I'm not even going to delve into that, but even for being lean and staying lean, there's no way you should cut out cardio. Like, they're literally insinuating that you should not do any cardio, like zero cardio. Just weightlifting is enough. And frankly, that's nonsense. Period. Point blank. And I'm gonna explain to you why. And I'm gonna give you some background information on what goes on behind the scenes, which is why people seem to be holding on to this message. So the whole premise is that you can go and lift weights and you can, get your diet right and you never have to do any cardio. You'll look great without doing any cardio. But at the same time, there's this big thing going around where they had all these bodybuilders and stuff go and do DEXA scans. And they compared those DEXA scans to some athletes, namely Conor McGregor, who's a professional fighter. And so they compared them across a range of body types. And it's kind of befuddling because you would think, looking at some of the pictures, that some of the guys would be like next to 0% body fat because they're like, their skin is like paper thin and, they look like, it looks sick almost, the amount of veins that you can see on their body. So you would think that they're like 2% body fat. But that's not what the scans were showing. So everybody's all getting all riled up about it. But to me, it makes perfect sense. So what people are doing now in lieu of cardio is that a lot of times they'll go and do bulking and cutting phases. So their weight goes through these roller coaster rides 2, 3, 4 times a year where they bulk up and then they cut. Some people just do it once a year and then cut. And they'll bulk up, gain 20, 30, 40 pounds in the name of building muscle, which most of it, the vast majority of it for a seasoned lifter is fat. Like, you just basically added a bunch of fat to yourself and then you cut down and you're supposed to look better at the end of it having added muscle because you've been in a super surplus for several months. And what it boils down to is that does not work unless you're on like steroids. And basically what steroids do is allows your body to absorb more protein, more nutrients, and build bigger muscles. So people who are not on steroids go through this process, and by the time they cut down, they look pretty much the same as they did last time, or they gain the same amount of muscle that you can gain doing a regular workout program that includes both weightlifting and cardio, and destroying their metabolisms to boot. So instead, what you should be doing is keeping a regular amount of cardio in your workout regimen and lifting weights. You change that ratio up and down based on what you're trying to do. Like when you're in a stage of building muscle, you might do a little bit less cardio than usual, maybe two times a week or something, or maybe shorten it up. Maybe not do as much steady state cardio, do more HIIT cardio to help keep the fat from building up. You can eat more calories, which cardio allows you to do. It allows you to eat more calories because you're burning more calories when you're doing cardio, and you're burning more fat. Now, how you do the cardio, like, you should have a combination of steady state cardio and HIIT cardio in there, because steady state cardio will start burning fat faster, but HIIT cardio will burn a whole lot more fat. So if you're doing both and you have muscle, you create a fat burning machine. And the benefit over just doing weightlifting is that when you do weightlifting, if you don't train a particular muscle, that area can contain fat. You can't actually spot train. So if you don't train your back's not going to be very muscular. You're going to have more fat on your back, and you're going to be imbalanced because all your muscles in your chest, because you're doing chest and shoulders and biceps and triceps, but you're not doing any back exercises. So your back is going to have a high amount of fat. So you have to train every specific muscle where that area contains fat. That's the problem with just doing weightlifting. If you don't specifically train every single muscle, then your ability to burn fat all over your body is minimal. When you're doing cardio, you burn fat everywhere. Fat cannot survive because your whole body is a fat burning machine. So even the places on your body that will store more fat, they're going to store less fat because you're burning fat over your entire body. And that's what cardio does. It makes your body a fat burning machine. That's why you have a good cardio base to your workout program. Instead of trying to go in and train every single muscle group and creating some diet plan that's like down to the single calorie, which most people cannot maintain. And let's be honest, half of these people, these fitness personalities, are lying. They're taking fat burners and low levels of hormones and steroids to get you to buy their program, or watch their channel, or look at their Instagram pictures, which are also Photoshop. A lot of it is lies. But even still, the workout programs are a sham. So what they do is they'll go through, and now you got a bunch of these now that are doing like, oh, I ate 5,000, 10,000 calorie eating challenges. But then all of a sudden they're, lean. Some of them are using diuretics to, get a bunch of weight and fat off real fast. Some of them using steroids. But then some of them, they just will hide out. They'll wear sweatpants and, big, thick, long, big old t-shirts and stuff when they're fat. And even call themselves fat season or whatever it is. Instead of just being lean year round by doing cardio. Now, the people that are lean year round, they consider that more, they make that as a sign of you being more likely to be on steroids. Because you can stay lean year round. Yes, if you're on steroids, you can stay lean year round. But if you're on cardio, you can also stay lean year round. Because you're burning more calories. There's a benefit to burning more calories during your workout. You can eat more, but the metabolic changes to your body creates a fat burning environment. This is tried and true. There's no argument here. Look at all the athletes, and I'm not talking about the select few that are on steroids, maybe like baseball or something, a bunch of them take steroids. Most of them stand around scratching their nuts half the time. I'm talking about athletes that are not on steroids. You go to college where a lot of these kids, from poor neighborhoods, they can't even afford steroids. And these guys are lean. These guys are lean because they lift weights and they do cardio. A lot of these track athletes, they lift weights and they do cardio. And don't let the media fool you and think that everybody's doing steroids. There's some, but the vast majority are just out there busting their butts day in and day out. I'm talking about like sprinters and stuff from track and field. The vast majority of athletes are lifting weights and doing cardio. That's why they have an athletic appearance. A lot of these guys, especially like football players, are lifting heavy enough weight to jump into a bodybuilding show because their bodies are, that well built. So if you lift weights and you do cardio, you can stay lean year round and you can build muscle at the same time. I stayed out of the gym for 8 years it was 6 years. In 2008 when I stopped playing football till 2014. Now I started training in 2009, but I was doing boot camps outside, so I never picked up anything heavier than a 20-pound set of dumbbells until 2014, the end of 2014 where I started back lifting weights. When I started back, I was probably, my weight average was probably 212 to 215. My body fat was around, on my ultrasound tester, and I have the records of this, was around 212 to 215, and I stayed between 5 and 7%, 5 and 8%. 8% was like during the holidays when I was just eating whatever, maybe ballooned up to like 217 or something like that the first year. The second year, I moved up to 215 to 218. So, but my body fat stayed in that same range, 5 to 8%. The third year, I was between 218 and 220, 224. And this is when I'm at my leanest. I'd have weekends where I splurge and get heavier, but for the most part, my weight stayed in that average. And mind you, I weigh daily, multiple times daily for years now. And now I'm between 224 to 226. Same body fat percentage. So what does that tell you? That can only tell you one thing, that I'm adding muscle. I'm not bulking, adding 20 and 30 pounds and then cutting down. I'm doing cardio yearly, doing high intensity cardio primarily, occasional steady state cardio, but high intensity cardio on a regular basis, and I'm lifting weights and I'm putting on muscle. It can be done. You don't have to follow these steroid-based workout programs, because most of this stuff is based on guys that use steroids. They bulk up, take a bunch of steroids, put on a bunch of unrealistic levels of added muscle because you can't do that naturally, and then they cut down. And then these other people take lower levels of steroids and follow the same process, and then they try to sell it to you as a natural person that you can do the same thing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not to mention the health benefits that go along with doing cardio. Burn calories, but you got to challenge yourself in the weight room. You can't just do the same weights forever. Ladies, can't just do the same weight forever and expect that you're going to build muscle. You got to get stronger. Actually do more weight. Your diet's got to be on point, and you got to do cardio. And I don't mean running 5-6 miles, every day, that type of cardio. I mean high intensity interval cardio, but you got to lift weights. So it's got to be an even balance, maybe even shaded towards the weight lifting aspect of it, if you want to be muscular in tone and lean. So there's various spectrums where people fall in. And some people want to be more muscular, but they do too much cardio. Some people want to be more lean, but they lift too much weights and don't do enough cardio. You got to find that balance that works with your body. It's as simple as that. But never, ever, ever let anybody talk you into taking cardio out of your workout regimen, because that's a load of bull crap. It's garbage. I got body fat tests for years, DEXA scans to prove it. And when they compared Conor McGregor's body to some of these bodybuilders, his body fat percentage was just as low as some of these bodybuilders. Now, he wasn't as muscular because he doesn't do a lot of weights. But you go train for fighting, you train for a fight, and you realize the level and intensity of training that goes into that. Fat cannot exist on your body. You're not going to be super muscular, but fat cannot exist on your body. So your body fat percentage is going to be low, even though you don't have a bunch of muscles and veins popping out everywhere, because your workout regimen is cardio based. But you can still be lean, very, very lean, even if you don't have big old muscles and veins popping out everywhere. That's why the bodybuilding community is confused as to what's going on. So do cardio, because fat cannot live. If you're burning fat over your whole body versus trying to isolate, burn bits of fat and isolate every place on your body's going to find those genetic places where it stores fat, and it's just going to store those pockets of fat wherever that is. Mine happens to be around my midsection. Wherever that is, your body's going to store it. It's going to be hard as heck for you to burn. So do the cardio, keep your diet in perspective, lift the weights. Do not cut out any of that, or you're going to leave yourself short. All right, so I'm just hitting the stuff flat in the face, and I put my argument up against anybody. You want to meet at the DEXA scan? Let's go. Let's go, Mrs. Bodybuilder that don't do no cardio. I got veins popping out everywhere, but look, body gonna store that fat, man. That body gonna find some place to put that fat if you ain't doing no cardio, bro. Period. And even the steroided out Olympia guys do cardio leading up to their shows because it burns fat all over their body. So you can't convince me otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Because the proof is in the pudding. All kinds of pudding. So anyways, guys, just like to keep it real with y'all, man. Keep y'all educated on what's going on out here in these streets. I hear in these racks in the gym, in these treadmills, man. So y'all keep it real, man. Keep it fit. And stay on your cardio, bruh. I'll let y'all later, man. Peace out.